Every parent wants to protect their child. I do too. It's one of the strongest feelings there is. You see your child about to struggle, about to hurt, about to fail, and everything in you wants to step in and make it stop. But I want to ask you something, and I want you to really sit with it. What if the very thing we do out of love, stepping in, fixing it, making it easier, is the thing that teaches our children they cannot cope without us? I'm Dr. Katia Batista, psychiatrist. This is the third video in our series on the things that loving parents do without realizing the cost. In the first one, we talk about the wealth children carry for life. In the second, about being truly present. And today, we are going to talk about something that surprises a lot of good parents because it looks exactly like love. Because being there for your child does not mean doing everything for them. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is not to rescue. Stay with me because this one might change how you help your child tomorrow. Let me say this clearly first because I never want you to feel attacked in these videos. Wanting to protect your child is not a flaw. It's one of the most natural things in this world. We are built to keep our children safe, to stop their pain, to smooth the road in front of them. If you run to help your child, that's love, real love. So, this is not a video telling you to stop caring or to let your child suffer or to be cold. Please hear that. But there is a line, and on the other side of that line, protecting stops helping your child and start holding them back. And the hardest part is you usually cannot see the line because everything on both sides of it feels like love. So let me show you what's actually happening on the other side of it because it has everything to do with how a child becomes a confident adult or an anxious one. Here's something we understand very well in psychiatry and child development. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. A child does not build confidence by being told they are great. And they don't build it by having an easy life. A child builds confidence by doing hard things and finding out they can. And here's what's actually happening in the brain. Every time a child faces something difficult and gets through it on their own, the brain files away a piece of evidence. I did that. I survived it. Maybe I can handle the next one too. Those pieces of evidence stack up years after years into something powerful. A child who believes deep down they can handle life. But here's the catch. The evidence only counts when the child does it themselves. When we step in and do it for them, the brain stores very little. There is no proof because there was no struggle. Think about the first time a child ties their own shoe. After days of fighting with it, or solve a problem you were sure they couldn't. Look at their face in that moment. That look is not, my mom is great, is I'm capable. And that feeling is what they will reach for years later, every time life gets hard. So every time we jump in and do it for them with all the love in the world, we take that moment away. We mean to help, but each time we take away one more chance for them to prove to themselves that they can. Let me show you what that looks like day to day because you will recognize it. None of these look like a mistake. Every one of them looks like a good, caring parent. That's what makes this so hard to see. Your child wakes up late, cannot find their shoes, their book, or part of their school uniform because they didn't get anything ready the night before. Instead of helping them think through where they left things or letting them experience the consequence of not being prepared, you immediately start searching for everything yourself. The message is not, my parent love me. The message is, someone else will solve this for me. Your child gets stuck on a homework problem is a very common thing. Before they have had a real chance to think it through, you step it and solve it for them. It feels like you are helping, but the message again becomes, when something is difficult, someone else will figure it out for me. Your child wants to order their own food at a restaurant, but even before they can speak, you answer for them. It seems like such a small moment, but moments like this are how children learn whether they are capable of speaking for themselves. And this is something I see all the time with teenagers. A parent who writes the email, fills out the application, makes the phone call, or speak to the university instead of letting their teenager do it. It comes from love, really, from wanting them to succeed. But the message underneath is, you can't do this without me. Maybe your examples look different. Maybe you answer every question before your child have time to think. Maybe you rush to fix every small problem before they have had the chance to try. The details don't matter. the message underneath is always the same. And there's one moment where the message lands harder than any other. I want to slow down on it because almost every parent has lived it. Your child is trying to do something. Maybe it's a homework. Maybe they are learning to tie their shoes. Maybe they are trying to build something that just is not working. After a while, they look up at you, frustrated, and they say those two words: I can't. Now, let me be very clear. Children need help sometimes. Asking for help is healthy. In fact, one of the most important emotional skills we can teach a child is knowing when to reach out. That's not the problem. The question is, what happened next? You are tired, you are in a hurry, or maybe it simply hurts to watch your child struggle. So instead of helping them think it through, you reach over and do it for them. It feels like kindness, it feels like love. But here's what the child takes from that moment. They don't think, my mom helped me. Not deep down. What they slowly come to believe is something much heavier. She did it for me because she doesn't think I can do it either. Just sit with that for a second. The one person whose belief matters most to them just seemed to agree with their fear, not with words but with actions. Now imagine a different response. I know this is hard. Let's look at it together. Try one more time. I'm just right here. Do you see the difference? In one, the parents replaced the child. In the other, the parents supports the child while the child keeps trying. One builds dependence. The other builds confidence. And that's how I can't stop being just a moment of frustration and slowly becomes either a passing feeling or a lifelong belief. Children are not born knowing how to cope with frustration, solve problems, or trust their own abilities. Those are skills they developed through experience. And every opportunity to struggle, think, try again, and eventually succeed helps those skills grow. But when someone else repeatedly steps in before the process can happen, those opportunities become fewer and fewer. You don't have to wait 20 years to see the effects. By adolescence, they often start to show themselves. This is where anxiety often starts to become more visible. A teenager who is terrified of making a mistake because mistakes were always something a parent rushed in to erase. A teen who avoids anything they might fail at, who cannot make a simple decision without their parents, who feels like a kind of panic the moment they are expected to handle something alone. And then comes adulthood. And this is the person who eventually walks into my office. Someone who cannot make a decision without calling their parents at this time, even when they already know the answer, because what they are really looking for is not information, is reassurance. Someone who avoids risk, avoids challenges, avoids anything hard. But here's what I find most important as a psychiatrist. It's not only that they depend on other people, is what they came to believe about themselves. Deep down, they carry an idea that runs their whole life. If something is difficult, maybe I'm just not capable. So the moment life gets hard, the old belief switches on and they retreat. Not because they actually can't, but because they were never allowed to find out that they can. Now, I have to be honest with you as a psychiatrist. None of these ever explained by one single factor. Mental health is always shaped by many influences, including genetics, temperament, relationships, and life experiences. But growing up without enough opportunities to struggle, solve problems, and discover your own abilities can become one important part of that story. And that's the part we can do something about. So, what do you do? And I want to be very clear because people get this wrong in the other direction. The answer is not to step back and let your child struggle alone. That's not strength, that's abandonment, and it hurts them just as much. We are not talking about being cold. Already I told you that, I think, before. The answer is four words. Stay close, don't take over. Okay, I think it's five. If 5 words is just English. But what I mean is, or let me explain better, stay close means you are right there beside them. Warmth, encouraging their safety and their support. Don't take over means you let them do the hard thing themselves. You let them try first. You let them feel a little frustration without erasing it. You let them fail at small things while they are young and the stakes are low. So they learn they can survive it. Let me make it real. When your child says, I can't, instead of do it for them, try this. I know this hard. Try one more time. And right here, you didn't abandon and you didn't take over. You stayed close. When they forget their homework, let them feel the small consequence at school and talk about it after. Stay close, don't take over. When they have a problem with a friend, don't fix it. Ask them, what do you think you could do? And let them find the answer. Stay close, don't take over. And yes, there are real dangers to step in for immediately, no questions. This was never about ignoring your child. It's about knowing the difference between a child who is in danger and a child who is simply struggling. One needs rescue, the other needs room. Stay close, don't take over. So let's come back to where we started, to the instinct to protect. The love was never the problem. You were always trying to help, but sometimes the most loving thing a parent can do is not to rescue, is to stay close and let your child discover what they are made of. Because children don't grow strong because life is easy. They grow strong because they find out over and over that they are more capable than they thought. And they can only find that out if we let them. I will repeat, if we let them. So, tomorrow, when that little moment comes, and definitely it will, when everything in you wants to jump in and fix it, pause for just 1 second. Stay close and let them find out they can. Because your job was never to raise a child who never struggles. It's to raise a child who knows deep down, I can struggle and still be okay. I'm Dr. Katia Batista, psychiatrist. This was the first video in our series on childhood. If made you think of your own child or the child you used to be, share it with someone who needs it. And tell me in the comments, what's something you struggled with as a child that you were so proud of when you finally did it yourself? Subscribe and like if you would like more videos like this. Take care of yourself and please take care of the little ones. See you in the next one. Thank you.